Well, good evening, everyone. We are back to the Spirit's book. We are finishing second site, ecstatic trance. Just a reminder for those that were not here or missed last week, ecstatic trance is a somnambulistic trance where the spirit goes to a higher place, enter into contact with more evolved spirits, and enters into a state of ecstasy, in the sense of an elevated sentiment. We mentioned last week about music that was composed by a musician that went in an ecstatic trance and brought the music. We played a little bit of it. We mentioned also the experience of Eurípides Barçanufo, the Brazilian spiritist from the beginning of the 20th century that had an ecstatic trance in which he described as meeting Jesus. And we just have we have three questions to finish. And, if we have any doubts, we'll cover them, okay? Philip.
444. How much confidence should we have for the revelations of ecstatic persons make? Persons in an ecstatic trance may very frequently be mistaken, especially when they seek to penetrate what must remain a mystery to humankind. They then give in to their own ideas or become the victims of deceptive spirits who take advantage of their enthusiasm to dazzle them with false visions.
Okay, so here we are talking about the people that enter into an ecstatic trance and then come back and report what they see, or report as they are in a trance, what they are seeing. And the spirits tell us to be very careful, because not everything that they describe may be the reality of what they experience, because they may be influenced by their own ideas, their own vision, like when we explain, when we sleep and have dreams, that the parts of the dreams we don't remember, our brain connects the dots and may create a wrong recollection of the dream. And also here they can become victims of deceptive spirits. So how can you be within with the deceptive spirits if you are in a ecstatic trance, right? And Elmo gave you an example, right? Last week, if you are, on your scale of evolution, you goes from 0 to 30, and you are a 6, and you go to 10, you are in an ecstatic trance. It may not be an ecstatic trance for someone that is on level 12, because it's below their level, but is an ecstatic trance for someone that is below that level. And in that sense, they can be deceived by spirits on what they are experiencing. That's it. That's the sense of what the spirits are trying to explain to us here. Okay, and again, repeating for those that missed last week. The original in French and the translation that you see in Portuguese and in the other version of the Spirit's book by the International Spiritist Council, it's Ecstasy, the title. In this translation, it was used ecstatic trance, which is what we are talking about here. And because ecstasy, it's a drug, a well-known drug, it becomes complicated to use that terminology, because we are talking here about something completely different. But just to give you an idea what you find in the original. Okay. Any questions here? Okay.
445. What inferences can we draw from the phenomena of somnambulism and ecstatic trance? Can we consider them a sort of initiation to the future life? It would be more correct to say that somnambulists may obtain glimpses of their past and future lives. If human beings study these phenomena, they will find the solution to more than one of the mysteries their unaided reason seeks to uncover in vain.
Yeah. When the spirits talk here about somnambulists may obtain glimpses of their past and future lives, we are going to study this on the next, more in detail on the next item, which is second sight. So I'm going to leave it to discuss there, because when you enter into somnambulic state, clairvoyant somnambulic state, you can see either the past or the future. Again, the future is always an issue, because the future depends on our free will. So the concept of seeing the future is a discussion that is discussed at length by Kardec in the Spiritist Review, and among Spiritists, you find a lot of literature, and it's difficult to get a conclusion of seeing the future. But seeing the past, it's easier, because it's something that already happened, and we know that spirits have the ability. So in a somnambulic state, as you expand your senses and you leave the restrictions of the physical body, you may be able to see beyond the physical life and beyond the present state of the spirit, accessing the past and future lives as they see here. And what the Spirit tells us is that these are going to be more understood and common in the future. Of course, we since this was published, we have a lot more information about it. The books of André Luiz are full of details on these subjects, but still science does not accept it, and science does not it refuses to entertain this discussion. Just a reminder, when we're talking about somnambulism, ecstatic trance, out-of-body experiences, they are also called astral projection, which is a word that is more well known here in this country. Okay. Okay, the last one.
446. Could the phenomena of somnambulism and ecstatic trance be consistent with materialism? If human beings study them honestly, without the bias of preconceived notions, they cannot seriously entertain the position of the materialist or the atheist.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why Kardec asked this question, because this phenomena of out-of-body experience cannot be consistent with materialism. The spirits just tell us that if we study it seriously and without bias, because what the problem with science today is that science is biased, right? They study this phenomena, they start studying this phenomena by rejecting it, by not accepting it to start with. So this is what the Spirit says here, without the bias. If you come with preconceived notions, then you are not open to fully discuss accepting or rejecting. That's how Kardec approached Spiritism, right? Well, the turning tables, right? It was not Spiritism at that time. When he decided to attend, He said, let me go with an open mind, without any preconceived notion. I'm going to see what is that and try to question. He didn't went there ready to fully accept what he was going to see. On the contrary, he was very skeptic of what he was going to find, but he was open to understand. And that's how he started studying. So that's what the spirits are telling here. When we study somnambulism, ecstatic trance, second sight, astral projection, without bias, and we analyze the phenomena, there is no way for us to entertain the position of a materialist or the atheist, because they believe that all there is matter, right? Physical matter. There is nothing beyond physical matter, and these phenomena are beyond physical matter. So you either don't accept, refuse to accept, don't believe, and with those, it's very difficult to enter into any discussion, right? If you watched Alexander Moreira Almeida lecture 1 month ago, beginning of this month, he said that more than 150 years of a series of I
think he's gone.
Yes, he mentioned that his internet's not very good today.
So I can do it.
testimony is experience life after death, of the continuation.
Johnny,
I'm back.
You back?
I'm
Only
back.
first.
we lost most of it.
Yeah. So you heard when I said Alexander Moreira, and
Yes.
then after this, yeah, he said that it's been it's more than 150 years of experiences proving the survival of the soul, but science refuses to accept it. So what can we do? Just patiently wait for science to move forward, because eventually you'll get there, but it may take some time. Okay. Any final questions for ecstatic trance? The subject we enter now continues to discuss, because the three, somnambulism, ecstatic trance, and second sight, are interconnected. So we'll continue to discuss the subject. And when we talk about second sight, again, it's more well known here in this country as remote viewing, right? Yeah. But if you look for the explanation of remote viewing, clairvoyance, which are all these phenomena that you are seeing outside of your physical body, or you are seeing the spiritual world, which is what we are going to discuss here. In the definition of clairvoyance outside spiritism, in the paranormal community, clairvoyance is divided into three types of classes: the precognition, which is the ability to perceive or predict future events; the retrocognition, which is the ability to see past events; and remote viewing, which is the ability to see contemporary events happening outside the range of normal perception. Okay, so this is the definition of clairvoyance according to parapsychology. In spiritism is a little bit different, but if you want to stay with that notion, that's not a lot away from spiritism. When we're talking about second sight here, you could say you could call it seeing spirits, right? Seeing mediums, not spirits, seeing mediums. But again, it's not a perfect word, because seeing mediums, they may not be mediums, they may be psychics that are seeing with their themselves. Because again, the seeing mediums are those that see the spiritual world, enter into contact with spirits, and bring what the spirits are telling them. Okay. But let's go a little bit further on this discussion here on the questions.
447.
Yeah.
Is there any connection between the phenomena known as second sight with dreaming and somnambulism? They are all the same thing. What you call second sight is also a state in which the spirit is partially free, although the body is not asleep. Second sight is soul sight.
Okay, so here it's an important definition from the spirits. Somnambulism, dreaming, second sight is all the same thing, which is the spirit is partially free from the physical body in different states. In the dream, you are sleeping. In the somnambulism, you are in a trance state or in a sleep state. In the second sight, you are not in a sleepy state, and you may be in a trance state, but many times you are not. So mediums that can see, like Divaldo, that see spirits all the time, this is second sight. This is seeing with the soul, but he's not in a trance. When he's working there and someone comes at the story is always tell that someone comes to talk to him, he goes there to the front desk, and someone tells him there's nobody there, you're talking to yourself. He was talking to someone, and then he asks a friend every time that someone comes to talk to him. He always asks the friend, "Are you seeing also?" Because so for him to differentiate between a living person and a spirit. So this is an ability of some mediums or some people that have the ability to see the spiritual world in a normal state. Of course, there are other states of when you enter into you go to the spiritual world. You could be in a trance, in a mediumistic trance, and have an experience in the spirit world as a somnambulic experience, remote viewing experience, clairvoyance, all these experiences. So again, it's a lot of different names for different experiences. And there is this book that is not translated called Theory of Mediumship in Portuguese. That is 850 pages talking about all different types. And he talks about, when he talks about seeing mediums, he talks about how many cases he mentions here. He spends a good 50 pages talking about it. Seeing Andrew Jackson Davis actually was able to read with his eyes closed and could see a title of a book placed below 4 or 5 other books when he was with the eyes closed. He could see the title of read the title of the book that was posted in his forehead without him seeing. He could read it. This is second sight. The spirit, the soul is seeing. It's not him. So in this book, he talks about 4, 8, 9, 10 different types of seeing, abilities of seeing a medium or seeing psychic. Could be active, it could be passive, and the active is divided in 8 different subjects. So, and again, there is a lot of information, a lot of discussions here, and you are going to find people explaining different ways all of this. So let's try to understand as best as we can, but leave our minds open to new learnings and new understandings of the phenomena. Okay.
Who's the author of Theory of Mediumship?
Zalmino Zimmerman, the same one that wrote the
Wonderful. He's gone again.
Today is one of those days. It happens.
Bible about the perispirit.
Sorry, we
lost
600
what you
pages.
said.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah. So
John,
there's
let me ask
the
something
book about.
before you move. If you make me co-host, if that happens, I can take over as a co-host. Just make me a co-host.
Even if my internet falls completely, the meeting continues. Okay.
And I can share even if you don't make a co-host.
No, you can share, but I already made you a co-host.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so you lost me when I was talking about the perispirit book, the 600 pages, and then this theory is 850 pages. Yes.
What is the second book again?
Teoria da Mediunidade.
No, the other one.
Perispírito.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are they the same author?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
ZZ. Zalmino Zimmerman. Can you imagine a name with 2 Z's? Always the last to be called everywhere.
Shall we continue?
Yes, please.
448. Is second sight permanent? The ability is permanent, but its exercise is not. In less material worlds, spirits can free themselves more easily from matter and communicate with one another via thought, without excluding verbal speech. In those worlds, second sight is a constant ability for most of their inhabitants. Their normal state may be compared to that of waking somnambulism among you, and this is why they manifest themselves more easily to you than those who are incarnated in more rudimentary bodies.
Second sight is an ability that that someone would have. So the ability is permanent, but the exercise is not, because again, our physical body influences. So we can, it's not something that will happen whenever we want. It may happen sometimes and not other times. So it's here the spirits are talking about a future state of us as evolved spirits, that more and more we are going to be able to free ourselves from matter while incarnated and communicate one another via thought, which is, we discussed this in the past, right? So the spirits tells us that second sight is a constant ability for most of their inhabitants, and we have to take their word for it. We have no way of proving otherwise, or so we have to just accept what they tell us. And they tell us that you can compare the state of a waking somnambulism, meaning you are in a somnambulic state awake, and you can manifest yourself in both these stages. Again, you need to evolve. We need to evolve, because you can imagine, for a spirit that has second sight at all times, or the ability of seeing medium like Divaldo, can imagine how difficult it is to live if you are seeing spirits all the time, and you're not sure which one is incarnated and which one is discarnated. So we need to evolve a little bit more to learn better how to deal with this ability to be able to use it in a more efficient way. Okay. Okay, no questions today, no questions, no comments. Everybody's understanding or not understanding at all.
Normal state. 449. Does second sight occur spontaneously or through the will of those who possess that gift? It generally occurs spontaneously, but will often play an important role in producing this phenomenon. Look at fortune tellers, for example, and others who really have the power, and you will find that their will helps them with this second sight, or what you call vision.
Okay, so here, question asks Kardec how this occurs, and the Spirit says normally occurs spontaneously, but we can will ourselves to experience it. And he talks about fortune tellers, that we would call here psychics, right? That you have the consultation with the psychics. The real ones, because of course there's a lot of fake ones, the real ones are able to enter into this state of seeing outside their physical body, and that's how they talk about the past, about the future, and they have the ability to give the information for those that are consulting them. Again, the problem with psychics is that first, you don't know if you are paying them, they have to give you something, and that opens the door for frauds. They may, again, like we discussed in the ecstatic trance, they may be influenced by their own preconceived notions, their own bias, or their own lack of understanding of what they're seeing, experiencing, and bring wrong information because they didn't really understood or were able to interpret what they saw. I was reading in one of the books of André Luiz, he talks about these mediums that are able to see the spiritual world, go to the spiritual world, and then bring back what they have seen. It's in the domain of mediumship. And he asks how these people are seeing things that I'm not seeing, or things completely different from what we are seeing. Are they what, crazy? And first, there are two explanations. The mentor projecting, the mentor of the meeting, the director of the meeting, projecting thoughts. Thoughts are matter, and those mediums are able to see his the mentor's thoughts and interpret in their own way. The example André Luiz gave is, if you put a model in front of 10 painters, you have 10 different versions of the model according to their own, each one's interpretation of what they are seeing, and they won't be the same. So it's the same thing about experiences by seeing mediums in the spiritual world. They will bring back their own experiences that may be completely different from the reality or from what you expect them to see, or something like that. Was it clear?
Yes.
Anything else? Any questions here? Anything to add? No. Okay, let's move on.
450. Can second sight be further developed by exercise? Yes. Effort always leads to progress, and the veil that covers things becomes more transparent. Is this ability dependent upon physical makeup? Physical makeup undoubtedly has a large role, as there are characters and structures with which it is incompatible.
So, developed by exercise. What Kardec asks here is, if we train ourselves, can we develop second sight, further develop? And the answer from the spirits is yes, we can. Effort always leads to progress, and that applies in every aspect of our lives. Now, it is dependent on our physical makeup, meaning, if you are not a seeing medium, you are not going to become by trying to become one. You can make all the efforts, but if you are not, you are not. Can you study and prepare and then start having it? Yes, if it was there to begin with, but you were not able to understand, or especially the spirits tells us that there are many people that have this natural ability and are not aware of it, because they think it's a natural state. For them, it was always with them, right? Like when a child has a invisible friend, for them, it's a real friend, right? They're seeing it, they're interacting with it, it's a real friend. For us to convince that it's not a real friend, or like people normally do, right? We theoretically shouldn't tell that it's not, because it's real, it's just not incarnated. But if you don't call their attention, they'll think it's normal, and everybody sees it, everybody does it. So those that have the ability and become aware of it can further develop it by exercise, yes. But if you don't have it, you're not going to develop it. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's move on.
451. How is it that the second sight appears to be hereditary in certain families? This is due to a similar physical makeup, which is transferred in the same manner as other physical qualities. It is also due to the development of the ability through training, which is passed down from one generation to another.
Yeah, here, as many things in life, right? You have children inheriting traits from the parents. And this is further developed by what the parents are doing, right? So, you see children of doctors becoming doctors, children of sports athletes following the path of their parents becoming athletes. So this is a combination of hereditary traits, and because they live inside this ambient their whole lives, it's only natural that they will develop earlier the abilities, right? So someone that has a medium in the family and already has mediumship abilities, it's much easier for them to become a medium or to develop their mediumship, as it is already there, right? The training, the understanding is already there. So in that sense is what the spirits are saying is hereditary here in certain families, right? That you see the mother is a psychic, and then the daughter is also a psychic, and goes on and on, right? Sometimes they come out completely different, the children. They choose a completely different path, but many times we see this, right? Genes, right, play a role in it, right? Okay.
452.
Yep.
Is it true that circumstances develop second sight? Illness, impending danger, or any major disturbance may develop it. The body is sometimes in a state that allows spirits to see what cannot be seen with the human eye. Times of crisis and turmoil, powerful emotions, and any causes that stimulate the moral nature may develop the second sight. It seems as if Providence gave us a means of calling upon it. All religious groups and parties subjected to persecution have provided numerous instances of this fact.
Okay. So circumstances that can help develop second sight. Illness. When we are sick and our physical body is very weak, our perispirit, spiritual body, has an easier time detaching from the physical body. And that can allow you to develop the second sight, meaning you are seeing what's happening in the spiritual world because your physical body is very weak, right? Sometimes, as they say here, impending danger, other disturbances may develop it. So things that may happen to us, very traumatic events, things like that, may allow us to detach ourselves from the physical body with our perispirit and have the ability of remote viewing, right? We talked about out-of-body experiences, those patients in a coma that are seeing everything that is happening in the room, patients in a very weak state. I think Elmo probably can tell us more about it with his own experiences in the hospital, Elmo. Have you seen this type of patient that probably they are going to call it delirium? No, he's not listening to me. Okay. You guys are hearing me, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So maybe Elmo got distracted there. So then the commentary by Kardec talks a little bit more of the same, but he brings the idea of the religious groups and parties subjected to persecution. You know, you have these stories of people that are part of persecuted groups that have some experiences that may be called second sight experiences or out-of-body experiences, and this type of experiences caused by the trauma, caused by the extreme fear or the extreme cases of physical experience, dangers and things like that, right? So we've seen reports of these type of experiences. Okay.
I like to share that I had experience myself when I was a little child.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I did. I was running a high fever. I remember with my mother was kind of, nursing me, and I do remember that I came out of my body and I saw myself, my mother. But what I find, I will never forget this experience. But what I do also find strange is that when I came out of my body, I was not a child. I saw myself as a child, and I saw my mother, and then I went back as a child. But it was such an experience that to this day I haven't forgotten it. It's quite vivid.
Yeah, you see, interesting, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about, the illness here, right?
The
that you are
illness
able
is
to
that The illness
Yeah.
that you said, that same thing you're discussing, talking about, the illness.
Yeah. Anything else? Danny?
It's not only illnesses as here. It says also like times of crisis and turmoil, like powerful emotions, right? So it doesn't necessarily
Yes.
means that the person, like I also had something similar to Paco. Like, of course, I have already some psychic stuff going on, but I could see it was a very turmoil, a period of turmoil in my life, and crisis, and a lot of powerful emotions. And I was resting, and I was thinking a lot about my father. Like, I missed him a lot. He died 16 years ago, and I could see him in the front of a garden. Like, I can even draw or describe the garden, how it looked like, very pretty, very green. And he was at the door of this beautiful garden, but he couldn't leave. So I could see that he couldn't leave that place. He wasn't allowed to leave the place, but he sort of like came to the door because I was thinking about him, sort of calling him. And he knew, he saw somehow, or he heard, or I don't know, but he came to the front of the gate telling me, I can't leave. I can't be there with you. I have to stay here. Sort of like his face, his expressions were saying that. And it is exactly like how this question describes. But I was not sick. I mean, physically sick. But and I had no fever.
In a way, you were kind of mentally disturbed in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Mentally sick, not the right word, but the state that you were, right? Is exactly what they're describing here, time of crisis and turmoil, right?
Yeah, and like powerful emotions. So I was like taken by powerful emotions. It's exactly how it describes here. But I was not physically sick, or I didn't have fever, or I wasn't in a hospital. But mentally, yes. But it's that, right? Like this. So I was trying to put into more a logic explanation. So I dislocated from my body, and I went there to the place where he was, or I didn't feel myself in that place. It felt like very far away from me.
Yeah, you went there. Definitely.
I went there. Okay.
Yeah. Your physical body remained, and you went there and had the experience with him. Yes, that's exactly the. We have to remember that in the spiritual state, where our thought is, we are, right? So here, because of the physical body that is gross and heavy, we cannot do that. But moving away from our physical body, when we are in a state of an altered state of conscience, any altered state of conscience, we can go where our thoughts takes us, right? Generally. So that's what you saw and experienced, I may imagine.
But that's you were saying in the beginning. So that's also what it can be called somnambulic state. Like
I don't know how you were, but it's somnambulic state is when your physical body is either it's like you have two different personality, not two different people in one, meaning your physical body is working, but it's not you. Incarnated is you, the eternal spirit, using your physical body. Or if your physical body is in a rest, it's in the sleep state, then you are experiencing the spiritual world in a much more vivid way than in a dream state, and you are interacting with the spiritual world. So I don't know what exactly was your experience, and what can we describe it, but what state, you know, to say exactly what it was. But what were you awake, sleeping, in the middle of it, you know, enter into a sleep state, right?
Yeah, I was definitely not sleeping, but not fully awake, I would say, but not sleeping. And I didn't feel I was there. You know, like we're describing, I didn't feel I was interacting. I sort of didn't have the permission as well. So it felt like, you know, the magnet, when you put two magnets and they repel. I couldn't get close, and he couldn't get close as well. So it felt a little, the dimension was different, you know, it was not like totally.
Yeah, again, it's not mediumship in the sense that is you, and you that is experiencing there, and you are, you know, interacting with the spiritual world, but from a seeing of what's going on point of view, right? So you come back and you are not bringing anything from other spirits. You are bringing your own experience. So this is the definition of psychic experience, right? It's you. It's not someone else. Now, if you had go there and spoke with your father, and your father left a message, you brought a message from your father to your siblings, then it's a mediumistic experience, right?
But again, the complicated thing, like not somnambulism.
Sonambulism, you either be in a sleep state or in a out of body experience with your physical, using your physical body to interact with the surroundings. Sonambulic sleepwalking state, right?
When there is something that to this day I can't explain. When I had Olivia, my first daughter, 11 years ago, on the first week that she was born, it was very hard for me, like for most of mothers, very little sleeping. She had reflux. It was very hard. And then on that same week, on my mailbox, I received a printed copy of an astrological reading of Olivia. So it had her birth date, the time, everything. And it was from Daniela Velasquez to Daniela Velasquez. It says it's printed there, a hard copy book. Wow. And I got that, and I was like, wow, somebody sent that to me as a gift, right? I don't know, in 1 week. And all the information was correct from her birth, time and everything. And I asked everybody. Nobody did that. Nobody, no family member, no Alexis, no my husband, nobody. So I have it here. It's real, and explains. I showed Jussara once. She took a look at that, about the descriptions, was really right. Was really Olivia, and I wonder if in that week, in a somnambulic state, so exactly like sleeping, but like sleepwalking, I went because I checked my credit card. I checked everything I could trace that I have done that myself, but it's a mystery. I don't know. So I wonder if in a somnambulic state, I didn't even know about the website before. So I wonder if I myself went to the computer, put all the information, and I sent it from me to me, because I received it in 1 week, that week of her birth.
Difficult to say, Danny. Possible, but difficult to say, right?
I'm still looking for an answer, because nobody claims doing that. and I have no recollection whatsoever of doing that myself. But it was a very difficult week, like emotionally, the sleeping deprivation, and you name it. But you know, it would be the only somnambulic experience I might have. Nobody saw me doing that, you know. My mother, my husband were in my house too. Nobody saw me in the computer. I don't know. So it's the mystery. Uh-oh. João left.
Maybe.
Is Elmo here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's one of those nights.
there's it.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, really a problem here today. So I heard you, Daniela, almost to the end, I think, and then you finished. Okay, so let's see if we can finish this. This.
Bye. 453 are individuals. 453
Yeah.
are the individuals who are gifted with second sight, always conscious of their ability, not always. It seems natural to them, and many believe that if everybody observed themselves, they would have the same power. Huh?
So we just again
Sorry?
playing three, so I don't. I'm going to lose.
Reread it?
You can hear me?
Sometimes.
Oh, yes.
So before, right?
Don't know what he's saying.
Elmo, take over.
Did you hear the reading?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Or
Yes.
is working now? Yeah. Okay. So you know, we discussed this before. Those that have this ability, natural ability, and don't know it, and think everyone else has it. So they may be unaware of that it's called second sight because something that they have, and they think it's natural and it's not, right? So let's read the last one.
454. Can we attribute the perceptiveness of people who possess startling clear judgment in relation to everyday life as a form of second sight, although they are not extraordinarily gifted? This is always due to more open radiation of the soul, enabling one to see more clearly than those whose perceptions are more heavily masked by matter. A. In some cases, can this ability provide the foresight of future events? Yes, it may yield premonitions because there are many degrees of this ability. The same person may possess all of these degrees or only some of them. I'm not sure I understood what I just read.
Yeah. Paco, you're on mute. I know you said in English, please. That's exactly what you said, right?
Yes.
What Kardec is asking here is that you know, those people that have an ability to analyze daily life events is in a clear way, have a better understanding of events. Is this a form of second sight? And and the spirits basically are telling here, this is a more of an evolved soul, more evolved soul that has a better ability to see things from a more elevated perspective than really a second sight. So they have the ability to see beyond matter, beyond physical matter, right? So that gives them a better understanding and better ability to analyze and to judge the daily events of our lives. And then Kardec asked, can they also predict future events? And the spirits say yes, they can have premonitions because it's part of their abilities to be able to see the future. Different people, a person may have one of these things, or some of them, or many of them, all of these degrees. So depends on the development. You know, Francisco Xavier, he had all the medium mystic abilities. Everyone possible he had. Some mediums have one or two abilities. Some psychics have only psychic abilities, but not mediumship abilities. Some mediums have no psychic abilities. So it depends on each one. Okay.
I want to share. I want to share something. Yeah, regarding this last question. You know, I've always believed, now in my old age, that common sense is not that common. You know, and my dentist shares that. Now, I've always said, I came to the point of, is common sense like a psychic ability? I've thought about that, but now it's a matter of radiation of the soul. I look at it from this question as, can you predict the future? Common sense tells me that if I keep on doing something, you know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
You know, even the big book in it tells you jail, institutions, or death. Common sense. Mm-hmm. So I guess you know, common sense is it's not so common. It also is a radiation of the soul.
Yeah,
this is what I take from this 454. I found on the market.
Yeah, you're right. It can be, right? Because what we call common sense is a better understanding of the best view of alternatives of life, and it could be a
daily life, everyday life.
Evolution, yeah, an evolution of the soul, right?
Yeah. 454. I will never forget that question.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to stop here, 7:30. But if you think we're finished, there is a whole article about theoretical summary of somnambulism, ecstatic trance, and second sight that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, 4.5 pages. So next week we are coming back to this, and we are going to review everything and try to make sense of all of them together with explanations by Kardec. Okay, so we're still going to go 1 week more with all these studies, and on this, Kardec is going to divide between on somnambulism and then ecstatic trance and then second sight with additional concepts that he brings. This was written by Kardec.
I guess he was aware that this is not an easy subject.
It's definitely not an easy subject. No.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have this weekend? On Saturday we have a lecture by our friend Alex Alves from Orlando, from the Spiritist group. I believe it's called, I forgot, Fraternity, I think. And the topic is originally was "Do not hide the light under a bushel," but I just heard that he changed the subject and he's going to talk about the Church of Jesus. That's the subject he's going to talk about on Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay. On Sunday, we're going to study liberation. We are going to start chapter 10, a learning experience.
Chapter 10.
Yes. And I think that's it for the weekend. Okay. On the book club, next week, we're going to do chapter 9, 2000 years ago. Okay.
Thank you.
Zoraida, can you do our final prayer?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. As we come to the end of our meeting tonight, we give thanks to our spiritual guides who have come here and guiding and assisting our teachers, explaining the emancipation of the soul, the differences. May we continue to study throughout the week within our private homes, understanding and developing the need to differentiate all the differences they have given us here today. We ask for all that are still going through suffering and pain, that we continue with our prayers throughout the week to help all those in need, for the hospitals and hospices, for the homeless, for the undeveloped countries, for those that are going through so much pain and suffering and who have gone to the spiritual world, for the families left behind. May we continue with our prayers, giving them strength and guidance, and most of all, peace and faith that our Father is always with them. We continue throughout the week with our prayers at home, with our family members and loved ones. And we pray for the Spiritist Group of New York, for our teachers that continue with their love, giving us all that we need to improve our lives with the teaching of Spiritism. We are so grateful for that. May God give strength to Yusara, Congo, Joel, Congo, Elmo Deslantes, with blessings and gratitude. And with that in mind, dear Father, we ask permission to close this part of the meeting tonight. So be it.